For our client is of the opinion that said declaration by UBS in and of itself completely precludes UBS from unilaterally closing a client's savings account without giving any reason or explanation.
Þetta sem sagt auglýsing sem verður að vísa í sem bankinn reyndar sendi Bobby Fischer, þar sem hann lýsir því yfir að viðskiptavinir sem komi til liðs við UBS, eins og það orðað, verði viðskiptafélagar til æviloka, og þeir lýsa þessu yfir og án fyrirvara, og í brefinu sem lögfræðingar Bobby Fischer sendu UBS vísa til þessa, og þar með sagt að bankinn hafi gefið yfirlýsingu sem Bobby Fischer hafi haft ástæðu til að trúa að hann væri öruggur með fé sitt hjá þeim til æviloka. Bobby var reyndar áður búinn að segja frá því að hann telur að bankinn hafi með því að loka reikningunum valdið sér gífurlegu fjártjóni, og hann tók dæmi það hvernig hann hefði hagnast á því að eiga peninga hjá þessu fyrirtæki sem eitt af stærstu bankafyrirtækjum í heiminum. But okay, Bobby, I would like to talk to you about the United States of America. An Icelandic former foreign minister, Jón Baldvin Hannibalsson, said that the foreign policy of the United States was terrible.
Yes.
And that the people in government now in the United States are some extremists.
Yes.
And they have, in spite of the international community, they have been running concentration camps, for example, in Guantanamo.
Yeah, the road to Guantanamo. I just saw the movie a couple of days ago.
This is your former homeland. How is the feeling to witness this?
Yeah, well, they say the country is run by extremists now, which is true, but the country was founded by extremists. These pilgrims were quite extremists themselves. They took the land from the American Indians, killed them off, gave them blankets that were infected with smallpox.
So it begins with the foundation.
Yeah. The whole country, it's always been an extremist country, an expansionistic, imperialist country.
But you said you'd seen the film about the Guantanamo.
Yeah.
Was it a surprise to you to see what the Americans are doing in Guantanamo?
No, it wasn't a surprise at all. I mean, I've been following it, but it really brought it home. That scene, did you see the movie?
No, I haven't seen it.
There was a really terrible scene where they put one of these prisoners in a little cell, and they turn up the music loud. Really horrible music, you know. Some blasting his ear for hours. And then they have a guard next to him, pushing him down, saying, so confess that you're Al-Qaeda.
So it's a torture.
Yeah, torture, outright torture. And worse than torture, I mean, this I'm sure will damage your hearing and even your brain. This is really vicious and malicious and unforgivable. I mean, well, the whole idea of interrogations is just a euphemism for torture. Because, what if somebody brings you in to be interrogated? What if you say, no, I don't want to be interrogated. I have the right to remain silent. Then they're going to beat you up and smash you, right? So this whole, the whole thing is just torture. That's what it's all about.
That's what it is. But I would, at the end of our conversation, I would like to talk a little bit about the chess, and maybe about the chess of past century, and maybe the former part of the last century. I was reading about you, some comments about your thinking in chess, and it didn't surprise me, but it was a wonderful comment in the book of Vladimir Postner about your playing. I don't know how to playing strategy, you could say.
Yeah. This was from his book Parting with Illusions. This came out in 1990. And he used to be the voice. He used to be on Radio Moscow, North American service.
The official. Yeah.
And he's a very unusual person. He didn't speak Russian until I think he was in his late teens.
Okay.
Yeah, he was born in France, brought up in America. I think he left America when he was about 15. Went to East Germany for a couple of years. Didn't come to Russia till he was about 17.
That's really strange. Yeah.
But he's a linguist. I think he speaks many languages, several languages perfectly. So he mastered Russian. And anyway, I've listened to hundreds and hundreds of his commentaries through the years. I think he was on there for about 18 years on Radio Moscow, almost every day.
Yeah.
And I never really knew who this guy was. I just knew he spoke perfect American English, and he had what sounded to me like a Jewish name. I didn't know where this guy was coming from, you know. But anyway, he wrote this book, and he said some very nice things about you. Can I read this?
Yes, please.
Okay, this is on Fisher.jp also, by the way. You can download it there. This is from page 272 of the book, Parting with Delusions. I remember Mark Taimanov, an international grandmaster, and at one time a contender for the world chess crown, talking about losing his match with Bobby Fischer by the implausible score of 6-0. For those of you whose knowledge of chess is limited, I should make it clear that grandmasters never lose matches by a score of whatever to nothing, especially considering that a draw counts for half a point and more games, and more games are drawn during a match than are won or lost. So when Taimanov fell to Fischer 6-zip, it was a sensation that rocked the chess world. It was, in fact, such an unbelievable affront that the Soviet Chess Federation stripped Taimanov of his title as Grand Master of the USSR. I just want to interject something here. The Jew-controlled press is stripping me of my title of Grand Master by their lies in the press. They refer to me in the press now, and I have the clippings, as former Grand Master.
Former Grand Master?
Yeah.
And is this the American Chess Federation?
No, this is just the Jew press lying. Yeah, I have the clippings.
It's impossible.
Several times, not once, several times.
It's impossible to strip one of
right, it's a permanent type.
It's a permanent type.
Let me just continue. Okay. It was, in fact, so he fell to Fischer's 6-zip. It was a sensation that rocked the chess world. It was, in fact, such an unbelievable affront that the Soviet Chess Federation stripped Taimanov of his title as Grand Master of the USSR. Later, when several other grandmasters were blitzed by Fischer, the Soviet Chess Federation realized its mistake, but refused to acknowledge it. To this day, Mark Taimanov retains the rank of international grandmaster, but has not had his Soviet rating, his Soviet ranking restored. Describing his famous defeat at the hands of the future world champion, Taimanov said, "When grandmasters play, they see the logic of their opponent's moves. One's moves may be so powerful that the other may not be able to stop him, but the plan behind the moves will be clear. Not so with Fischer. His moves did not make sense. At least to all the rest of us, they didn't. We were playing chess. Fischer was playing something else. Call it what you will. Naturally, there would come a time when we finally would understand what those moves had been about. But by then it was too late. We were dead." And then he continues here. This is interesting. "Gorbachev is that kind of a political player. No one understands his moves, not until it is too late. And that is why, in my opinion, he was able to rise through the echelons of power, through the Young Communist League, through the party ranks, up and up, all the way to the Politburo, and even be selected to the post of General Secretary. If anyone had been able to read his mind before that, Gorbachev would be dead." And he continues.
Yeah, and he really speaks about your chess. It doesn't surprise us who remember your tournament and your match against Spassky in '72, or even something else about you. I even have spoken to chess players on the street in New York City that remembered you playing chess there. And
by the way, is Gorbachev still in town?
I don't know if he is. I think he was yesterday, but I don't know today. I don't remember. I don't know his plans.